I'd like to thank the organization for inviting me to attend this opening session of the academic year 2011-2012. Let me say some words about the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics. First, the CREI, the Centre de Recerca en Economia Internacional, the Research Center on International Economy, gathers 5 of the 67 grants awarded by the European Research Council to scientists carrying out their research in Catalan institutions. Good news. According to the Institution of Bibliometric Analysis in Economics, REPEC, the Graduate School of Economics stands in the 18th place in the ranking of worldwide economic institutions and in the top 12 of worldwide economic departments. At European level, GSE stands in the 3rd position and it stands first at Spanish level. Good news again. Graduate School of Economics is an outstanding success story of collaboration between the private sector, public universities, and the public administration. It must be pointed out that this success has been achieved with flexible governance, closer to patterns of the private sector than to public models. Despite of its short life, just 5 years old, congratulations for the anniversary, GSE has succeeded on offering world-class graduate programs, which are a great opportunity for successful academic and non-academic professional careers. As we all can see, there are plenty of reasons to congratulate the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics and to warmly encourage it to continue the road they took from its very beginning. Thank you very much, as I said, for the invitation to take part in this closing session. A long life to the Barcelona Graduate School of Economics. Good luck to all of you. Thank you.
As the players of the Barça, when you win, you also have a challenge to keep the standards. So we're going to have the meeting of this committee this spring, and they will ask us questions of what we do. So it is a challenge to be at these standards. And it is even more because, as we all know, we are in times of what Professor Sargent calls in his works on the European unemployment of turbulence. And it's not only turbulence in the world, it's turbulence in Spain, it's turbulence in many places, as the Conseller and the President know very well. But it's also in these situations that one needs to appreciate and have a view on the long run. And a long view means that what is going to get us in growth in a different position will be to have very strong higher education. And this is true for institutions, for countries, but it's also for you individually. As I said, we are already very international. You're going to be competing international. So that means that you really have to make the investment, and that's a good opportunity. I think that's great to be here. You are in Barcelona. You are with a very strong faculty to learn from. You're also going to have an incredible group of colleagues and friends. So I think that that's great. I only have a really bad news to tell you, is 1 year goes very fast. So really take advantage of it. Thank you.
Let me offer you some advice, personal advice, on how to make the best of your experience here at the GSE. Values are a crucial pillar of society. We need to return to values taught by our parents and within our education system, such as honesty, transparency, confidence and trust, responsibility, reliability, and professionalism. These values, recently underestimated by companies and countries alike, are very much related to the success of our communities, societies, business, and economies, and will contribute to everyone extracting the best of themselves. Therefore, the challenge we currently face is not only to deal with the economic recovery, but also to repair the value system that has been damaged and needs your contribution to help recreate it and bring it back to its proper place. Your education, combined with an exemplary conduct, is one of the way of achieving one of the main priorities we currently have individually and collectively, rebuilding confidence in the future of our society. You know the saying, think global, act local. This cannot be more true than now. You can play a vital catalytic role in society today, if you wish. I am convinced that the businesses and communities you leave to your children will have nothing to do with what you are currently experiencing. The future of our society is in your hands and starts right here today, right now. Do not be afraid to be pioneers, visionaries of your times. It is up to you to make sure to use the wisdom acquired throughout your life experiences for the betterment of society as a whole. Please always remember this. You are fortunate to be here. You have a great opportunity to learn and make a difference. Take, please, full advantage of it and don't waste a single minute. Thank you and best of luck to reach and everyone be very lucky and very happy in Barcelona this year and next month. Thank you.
For India and for China, let me begin with a little bit of a quotation from Martin Wolf. It's a bit of an excessive quotation, but nevertheless, this is Financial Times a few years ago. The economic rise of Asia's giants is the most important story of our age. It heralds the end in the not-too-distant future of as much as 5 centuries of domination by the Europeans and their colonial offshoots. This is Martin Wolf in the Financial Times. A bit overstated, but there is something about the remarkable globalization which really means that there are different parts of the world which were for 500 years, 600 years, nowhere in the global economic scene, which have come to play a major, major role. And this internationalization indeed is a matter of celebration. Let me take this opportunity to say that the internationalization of your graduate school of economics is something absolutely remarkable. I think the long-run force and power of an economy depends a lot on this openness in higher education. In India, right now, there is a lot of discussion that even though it is an economy that doesn't have really as yet the financial power, but we do want to open up our higher education system, and this is not just a generous act, it's a realization that, yes, it's good for interaction, good for the world, but it is also good for the host country. So congratulations on this for the School of Economics here, and for students who are coming in, this is a great opportunity. Please do make best use of it. Now, Martin Wolf says this for India and China, but I do believe that the story is in some ways more interesting for India because China's rise has been a foregone conclusion for at least the last 50 years. It's true that the Chinese economy has been growing in leaps and bounds from 1978 or 1980, but you knew that it would come to be this for a good 20 years before that. The India is a more surprise story. No one quite expected that, and I used to be a professor in the Delhi School of Economics in the 1980s, and I remember that we would take a great amount of pride in the fact that India was an open society. So the doors were open to international culture, international films, international books. But as an economy, we were first of all not very open and didn't quite see India becoming a major economic player. Certainly in the 1980s, that's not something that we were expecting. That began to change, and changed really dramatically. And if you look at the current scenario, the way the Indian economy is viewed, this situation has changed over the last 10, 15, maybe 20 years, completely dramatically, and the perception is over the last 5, 6 years. I have a very unusual perspective. I think I'm very lucky that I've gone into government and policy making from the world of pure academic research. And academic research in the United States to policy making in India, that does give me a different perspective. When I first joined the government in India, this was in December 2009, so less than 2 years ago, I thought, you know, in the end, the world is a very similar place. But there were little occasional conversations which would be a reminder that, you know, cultures differ, human thinking differs. I remember in the first week after I joined the government, I was given a government car and a government driver who's very proud of the fact that he's a senior driver in the government hierarchy. I got into the front seat and I was reaching out for my seat belt. The driver, who knew that I used to be a professor and I had just joined the government, turned to me and said, "Sir, now that you have become the chief economic advisor, you don't need a seat belt." You know, you suddenly realize it's a very, very different perception of the world to think that your status with the seatbelt has changed by virtue of this position. Little reminders every now and then would tell you that, yes, it's a different situation, different setting. At the same time, there are similarities. There are striking similarities from the fact of course, being human beings, but also from the fact that it's a very, very globalized world in which we are existing. Let me just take a few minutes and tell you about the current situation, which is our big concern. Right now, if people ask me what's the big concern for India, right now it is inflation. The country was growing very rapidly, though over the last 2-3 months, the growth has slowed down a little bit. We do believe that the little slowdown is being caused by, first of all, the global situation. Number two, a deliberate decision on the part of India that you'll have to pull back on aggregate demand in order to cut back on inflationary pressures. And so that's causing some slowdown. So the major battle is inflation. It's causing us a lot of concern. And at times you get a criticism in the press that, look, the government sits back and does nothing about inflation. That actually is never true about inflation in a democratic system, because all politicians know that nothing is more unpopular than inflation. So I don't think that anyone is deliberately sitting back and allowing inflation to happen, but the global structure of the economy, the global economy has changed, and I feel for intellectuals, for academics, inflation management is a very, very special intellectual challenge, and even in the discipline of economics, it's a very difficult discipline, a difficult area, and we need to invest in this. I'll give you one kind of reason why I think the changing global structure is causing some problems. Sometime in the late 17th century, the world realized that you can't have one economy with many money-creating authorities. So one dimension on which we do want a monopoly is in terms of money creation. So each economy should have one central bank. When the Bank of England was set up in 1694, that was an explicit understanding that this would be the sole authority that would create money. One economy, one central money-creating authority. That was the decision. Lots of central banks, each country had one central bank. But see what's happening to the world now. As the global economy increasingly becomes a single economy, trade barriers are coming down, capital is flowing from one to the other, we have created lots of central banks, one for each country. But the country is no longer synonymous with an economy. The global economy is tending to become a single economy, and we have multiple central banks. And this is creating unusual problems, because when one country creates more money supply, in the olden days that would cause inflation, that would, in that country, that would maybe enhance growth in that country. But in today's world, that money is flowing all over the global surface. And this is creating tensions which need to be addressed, and the understanding of global management of inflation, to me, is a very, very major challenge. I want to end with just a word about something which I feel the economics profession has been a bit guilty in not stressing enough. Economic development depends on, yes, you have to get your fiscal policy right, you have to get your monetary policy right, but it also depends on social norms, culture, and institutions very, very importantly. Simple things which nowadays economists are talking about, but earlier they did not. trustworthiness in society, how much you can trust one another. After all, contracts can be undertaken successfully, not only if you have the law courts, because how many times can you go running to the court, but if society is trustworthy. So a lot of these traits are extremely important, and social traits really differ from one region. Social norms and social beliefs can differ dramatically from one region to another. And in economics, this was not stressed enough. I began by telling you about the occasional reminder of differences, about social beliefs, collective beliefs. Another stark reminder came to me some years ago when in Delhi, I had a problem of termites, pests in my home. So I called up a pest control agency to take care of this problem. So one man came with different kinds of chemicals and was spraying all these chemicals in my home. So I came in and I said that, look, you're working so hard. Will this take care of the problem of pests? So this very genial man smiled and said, sir, have no concerns whatsoever. These chemicals are very strong stuff. They are totally banned in the United States. So you realize what for this person was a source of consolation, was a source of alarm. I live in 2 countries, alarm for me as I was edging out. Social beliefs can differ across societies, but social norms, social beliefs can play a very, very major role in the development of an economy. And I feel this is an area that needs to be researched into and that needs to be promoted for a country to do well. This is a research topic that we ought to stress, ought to emphasize. And with that word, this is a biggish topic, that this is an area that needs to be understood, and a lot depends on that in the long run. I will say thank you, and once again, congratulations to the new batch of students who have joined. Thank you very much.